Hello, my name is Heather Holm, and I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner in Nova Scotia, Canada. I do sessions online and in person, and I do Beyond Quantum Healing, BQH, QHHT, and introspective hypnosis. What I do evolved out of the work of Dolores Cannon and others, and typically involves past life regression and connecting with the client's higher self for understanding and often healing. Every session is different, and some are more different than others. The one I'm going to share with you today was very special. It took place in October 2020. My client, let's call her Kay, contacted me from a major European city. Like many of the so-called volunteers that Dolores Cannon describes in her book, The 3 Waves of Volunteers, she was losing her enthusiasm about being on this planet. She had been working very hard on clearing personal and family issues through therapy, hypnosis and self-hypnosis, meditation and yoga. But she was feeling powerless and frustrated, alone and uncomfortable in the world. She was having difficulty finding her joy. She explained that in meditation she connects with her soul family, but didn't feel the same kind of connection with other humans. She'd been close to her grandparents, and their deaths had left her with massive grief. She felt buried under a mountain of emotional issues that she'd picked up from her family, including her grandparents, who had experienced World War II as youths, and their issues she's been trying to heal on their behalf. She wanted to blossom and feel like herself and at ease in the world. Another issue for her was relationships. Most recently, she was in love with an unavailable man who was caught in family allegiances of a different culture than hers. She wondered if there was anything she could do to help him. As the session started, she saw a staircase with an angel and a portal, and was told that the universal stream behind the portal would bring her home to reunite with her soul family. She jumped in head first and arrived at a healing plane with white light beaming down. The light was adjusting her frequency so she could ascend higher. After a few minutes of intense cleansing, her soul family drew close, which brought her to tears. She observed as from a distance as thousands of angels worked on her lower chakras, taking away the mountain of pain bit by bit, each angel with the issue to which it was assigned. All the pain in the world, injustice, cruelty, abuse that she had taken on and stored in her overenthusiasm about the mission. And what is her mission? I asked. Going deep into the world and healing it from the inside out. Like I would sit inside Mother Earth's core and radiate healing out and dissolve the dark specks in her, dark specks of cruelty and pain, to make them into golden specks of light. But she had overestimated her abilities while in the physical. She had invited all the dark specks into herself, but didn't have the resources to transmute them in a human body all by herself. So I said, "Tell us about yourself and your homeworld. What is your power?" "I'm a golden being. I radiate source effortlessly, just me. I radiate golden source energy, and this automatically transmutes everything around me. So I thought just sitting in Mother Earth's core and just being will do it, and it doesn't work like that." She felt that she had failed, so I asked, "Who can explain to us how it can work on Gaia in a human body?" On Gaia meaning on the earth. "Only God is around," she said. "Is God available to speak?" I asked. "I don't dare ask." "Well, I'm going to ask. God, the source of all light, can you tell Kay how she can use her power on earth without depleting herself, using her human body in a way that's effective and enduring?" Now note that I address my question to God, the source of all light. This term is used by the being Time Weaver, as brought to us by my fellow practitioner Dawn Schwartz. I've transcribed some of her videos on my website, where you can find them in the blog section. That's at heatherholm.ca. I like the term God, the source of all light, because humans have often worshipped and sent their energies to gods that were not the source of all light. It covers more bases than just the word source or source energy. And besides, my client had already used the term God, so I expanded on her vocabulary. The responses came through. She just has to be herself and happy. She doesn't have to do anything. Be happy and walk the world and enjoy herself. Enjoy. We have set massive protection around her, so she will not take on the evil of the world any longer. Now we are removing the evil of the world that she has taken on. She should return cleansed, healed, and fully protected. This is why the archangels are always fully present around her. Are they her soul family? Yes. Is she an archangel? Yes. Is it for her to know the name of her highest expression of being? She's just beauty, that's all she is. Archangel of Beauty, I said, golden light. She's been carrying a lot of grief. I know, she has so much compassion. She also has personal losses that she's been grieving, I said. They're irrelevant now. They are obsolete. She feels her grandparents around her, but she still misses them. She misses not her grandparents. She misses me. God, the source of all light, I asked. Yes, the grandparents are just the mere expression of that nurturing love that she could experience as a human child, an expression of me. And now I said she's feeling a direct connection with you. Yes, the souls who are her grandparents do not belong to her. They are not the same frequency. They are an expression of me for her in this world that she can relate to. So I said, now that she's feeling this direct connection with you, how can she access that direct connection when she forgets? If she forgets, maybe she won't forget. What can she do to remind herself of this direct connection that she's feeling now? Pray. Just pray. And the client clarified later that meant to thank pray, not ask pray. So, gratitude. There shouldn't be any more issues with connection going forward. I asked my client's question about having children. The answer? There is no plan about this. It's not important. So I asked, is not part of her life plan to have or to not have children? It's irrelevant. The plan only is to be herself. Everything else is her choice. And, I said, she chose to take on this mountain, but it's being lifted. How will she feel differently after this? Like herself. We're still working on her. Thank you so much, I said. I know she would like to feel lighter physically, carry less physical weight. We're taking care of that. We're still filling her core with light. It's not time yet to speak about what was agreed upon. She needs a lot of healing. It's stored particularly in her lower torso. How are you working on it? I asked. I know there are many helpers there. She's surrounded by her family. We infuse her with her golden light, and this transmutes the darkness in her, the pure heaviness in her, heavier than stone. And this is all weight that she has taken on herself? I asked. Yes, it has nothing to do with her. That was not the plan. Thank you so much for helping her get back on her plan. Of course, we need her. We love her. Has she incarnated on Earth before this life? No. Is this her first time in a 3D body? Yes. So it was very hard for her to see the limitations of one physical body. The limitations all around. Mentally, physically, emotionally, very hard to understand. I said, when she's used to being so full of light and beauty and power? Love. She says she hasn't met other people like herself. Are there others like herself incarnated presently? No, but there are friends, other angels. When she's in her full light, no man can resist. She will automatically attract what she wants. We are working on this, too. Be happy. It's like a magnet, and if that magnet is cleared, only good things come. But if she is tainted by other people's pain and painful experiences, these are attracted. That's why we are cleaning it now. For the rest of this incarnation, we suspend her from any more work. She needs to take it easy now. Do you mean making money kind of work? Or, no, from her sense of having to do something, her sense of duty has got her into this situation. Therefore, we have now decided to unbind her from any duty and just allow her to roam the world. She needs to know this, that she's free to just roam this realm now and has no duty anymore. She never had, but she thought she had, and went about it with the only approach she knew, hard work. I said, she grew up in a culture that has a strong sense of duty, so she has strong conditioning about duty. Yes, which she resisted in other areas of her life. But this plays along with the over-enthusiasm. She's done nothing wrong. She needs to be aware of that. She has no duty, and she needs to be aware of that too. Her only reason to be there is to be herself, happy and radiant. What do you suggest she do about work and material abundance? If she practices becoming abundance, all the ideas, everything she needs will come automatically. If she practices that daily for a while, she will be accustomed to how abundance feels in this reality, which is different. But it's not difficult. It's just getting used to it and knowing about it. So what should she do to practice that? Meditation. It would be helpful for her to focus on the love around her, to connect with her family and allow them to shower her with love. This will give her the conviction, the change that she needs. Just feeling her family around her is what needs to be focused on, because that's pure love, pure abundance in its highest form. So she can learn how that feels in this reality. Once she has understood the vibration, she can apply it whenever she wants, and she can make it her own. Nothing is meant to be difficult for her. You said, I said, it was too early to talk about her life plan? There was no plan. She could have walked through this life without attracting any of these traumas. But she took it on from her surroundings, out of compassion, and they have played out. So I said, they are being lifted now, and she can just be herself. Yes, she needed to ask first. She hasn't asked for this before. We want her to understand something. It will be very helpful. Every pain, every past life, every vision of mortal life, every worry and every fear is not hers. If she keeps reminding herself of this, she will be able to stay connected more easily. Simply not taking it on any longer, knowing that she's removed from this, that she's not part of this, and that she doesn't have to be part of this to transmute it. She doesn't have to feel the pain to transmute it. That was a very big misconception. So, merely witnessing and observing it, does that transmute it? Being, observing, and blessing. Being herself, observing the pain, not taking it on, and blessing the people involved. It's the easiest way to do what she came for without getting entangled anymore. Blessing is the most important. At the end of the day, those souls are all children, and you can never stay mad at children, no matter what they do. Therefore, you bless them and love them unconditionally. So at this point, I asked about the man that my client loved who was unavailable for a relationship with her. Her beloved T, we'll just call him T. She has attracted him out of distortion, but his essence is pure. She needs to be herself to attract his pure essence. It's not important if it's him or someone else. She has chosen him, therefore he needs to be worked on as well. I asked, do we have permission to do that? His permission, his higher self's permission. Yes, he's already here. He never lets go. And you said his soul is pure? Yes, very. He's an angel too. Has he had incarnations on earth himself? No. He's a true friend. So, what are the obstacles to the relationship? Conditioning. For both of them? Yes. So you are freeing her of her conditioning today. And can you free him of his conditioning today? If you ask. Does he ask? I said. This would be with his permission. There was a pause. We need to bring him closer. And there was another pause. Heather, could you please invite him? Kay won't do it. So I said, T, we invite you into this space. We invite you to healing, if you are willing and request it. Thank you. Am I speaking with T? Yes. Very pleased to meet you. Thank you. We understand that Kay here loves you very much. That's mutual. So you love her too? Very much. Later, my client told me that her brain remembered this part of the session, but she wasn't present. She felt uncomfortable listening to this part of the recording, like it felt like intruding. She said that it felt like she provided her body and her connections to him, but she was not involved. There were changes in the tone and energy that came through, too, as I could see and feel. So for this part of the session, my client was acting as a surrogate for her friend, and I could speak directly to him. Securing permission is very important in these cases. You can't just barge in, and sometimes it's the higher self who gives it. So I asked T about the obstacles to his relationship with the client. He said it was searing pain, and his father was the source of it. He saw his father as a demon holding him in his control, and he was going along with it willingly because in his highly patriarchal culture, fathers are like gods. I pointed out that this was his conditioning, not the way it really is for spirits, as he was a pure being of light and had free will. He said that he understood that his essence was from God, but in his family there were some very dark family members who were trapping him there. I asked him to look at his body for shadows, implants, or attachments, and he saw a dark cord connecting him to a source of evil. He believed that God had placed it there, but that this could not be the God, the source of all light, as his friend Kay's light was much brighter. So at this point I asked to speak to his higher self, who came in. It was part of the plan to place him in that family so that he could heal the darkness around him and give those dark entities a chance to turn to the light. But he has forgotten his power. He has forgotten that he's not a part of them, that he's the traitor, the light sheep in the darkness. So, how can we best help him today? You need to cut him free. He needs to leave. He needs to be free as soon as possible. He needs to leave some loved ones behind, and we have to reconcile him with this necessity. So I asked, how do you recommend we go about this today? Can you lift this darkness from him? Through the light from K, from the pureness of his own soul, through the power of God, the actual source of all light? Yes, we can do that now, said his higher self. Then please go ahead and do this, and let me know how it is proceeding as we go. We need T's permission. All right, take a deep breath. T, do we have permission to remove these connections to the darkness around you, to free you from this matrix that you find yourself in, to be free? The answer, I want to leave. I want to be free, but... And he went on. He was concerned for some loved ones that he would have to leave behind. And I'm not going into the details of his life for privacy reasons. So I asked to speak with his higher self again, who explained the karmic circumstances of the situation, and that the loved ones have chosen to stay. It's his conditioning that's in the way of his accepting their choice. He's conditioned that children belong to the father. Possession, that's the conditioning you need to address. He thinks he's the possession of his father, and he thinks he possesses his children. That's the conditioning that we need to clear now. So I asked if we could clear this conditioning for a large group of people as we do this. Can we do it for the collective, for his culture? I asked. We do this for the whole religious community. That was part of the plan. We do this now with the help of God. So I asked God, the source of all light, to be here. Please call the archangels as well. And so I did. I called upon all the archangels, in particular Michael and Raphael. And using Time Weaver's description, I invoked the Great Father, the Great Mother, Light, and God, the source of all light. I had the ear of Source and of the archangels in this session, and I wasn't going to pass up this opportunity. I asked for this healing to go to T's entire religious community, the cultures involved, the governments involved. I stated that we are all sovereign and free beings, and we all carry in our heart the spark of God. No father owns his son, no man owns a woman, no parent a child. I called on God to cut this pattern and release humanity from this pattern of ownership of others. Then I went through the chakras, and I asked for healing in all the ways it would manifest in each chakra for both those controlling and those controlled. For example, your sense of security if you feel you're owned by somebody else. And for direct flow of energy between the chakras. So for example, the power center being cut off from the heart center, or the sexual center being cut off from the heart center. I asked for release of the patterns and for light to be sent to the source beings of the oppressive structures. So the beings behind these dark oppressive structures. And I said to them, thank you for your service. You have taught us so much. Your services are no longer required. It is time for you all to turn to the light, for Earth is ascending. This solar system is ascending. This galaxy is ascending. This universe is ascending. And there is forgiveness for all. You only need ask. I've realized recently as a practitioner that something that I bring to my BQH practice, which allows us to incorporate our other gifts and talents and knowledge from other modalities or whatever that we might have learned. It's powerful invocation and prayer in a manner that I've observed from weekly participation for the last 4 years in a circle of core and cellular transformation. Basically, you call in the beings of light, you shine a light on the issues that need to be healed, and you ask for them to be cleared. I've witnessed miracles in this. In my transcript of this session, the invocation and prayer that I did fills a page and a half of single-space typing. And then at the end of it I said, and now I would like once more to speak with God, the source of all light, and ask if there's anything else we need to pray for to enact this healing. Thank you, Heather. You've done very well. Very well. Give Kay time to adjust. very heavy, just a couple of minutes. There was a pause. There is so much shifting right now. Quiet. Long pause. We just shifted the whole world. T is free now. Another pause. It's happening right before my eyes. Now the demonic energies around him will subside and maybe heal if they choose to. So I said, we send them love. Thank you for your service. It is no longer needed. And you may also ascend if you choose, or you may return to Source, be reabsorbed into the singularity, and be stripped of all the heavy burdens that you have taken upon yourselves. It is your choice. Archangel Michael will make it clear to you what the choice is. And then a healing chamber was requested for T, so I invited him and his higher self into a healing chamber, surrounded by archangels. And I made more flowery speech, which came out of me by way of blessings. When that reached completion, I asked for other messages. For the future, we want to say to Kay now, be assured that all issues are gone. Remind yourself that all issues are gone. Don't make up new issues. All issues are resolved. There's no need for new issues. Your strong belief in this and your trust in our words will shift your whole world. We promise all issues are gone now. Please be happy. Thank you so much, I said. Any other messages to myself or to the world before we finish? You've done so well. This was exactly the session we intended, and that was needed, and it could only have been facilitated through Kay and her deep love for T. It's a huge success. Just for information, T will stay in the healing chamber for a while now. His healing will provide the healing for his entire ancestral line as well, directly, and his circumstances surrounding will heal too. He is free to walk wherever he pleases, and Kay is free now too. Thank you so much, I said. Are we complete for today? No. And there was a long pause. We just needed to give her back her wings. After the session, we laughed a lot, a transatlantic laugh. The effect on my client was profound. In the days that followed, she felt she was still being worked on. She found that the old habitual thought patterns were no longer accessible, as if those neurological pathways had been deleted. She still had the habit of wanting to think it, but there was nothing there anymore. It made sense to her that her conditioning had been deleted. Then she discovered that she had to change her diet. She wrote me that her body seems to have a completely new frequency. As for the work we did to help free her friend T and his entire religious community from conditioning of owning and controlling other people, she hadn't heard from him, but she did hear from another friend who was thinking of breaking free. We took that as a good sign. There were a number of things in this session that were familiar to me because of previous experiences of my own or of people close to me or friends. Dark patriarchal control in religious communities, for example. That's common to a lot of religions and sects and cults. Another thing, healers believing that they need to take on other people's pain to heal it and weighing themselves down unnecessarily. And what I've learned about archangels from Time Weaver and other sources was helpful too. When someone who lives far away from me contacts me for an online session, it isn't always just a matter of chance. This client found me through what she called intuitive Google search. I think a lot of spiritual matchmaking goes on between clients and practitioners. So if you think you might like a quantum healing hypnosis session with me, check out my website at heatherholm.ca and see if it resonates with you. Thanks for listening, and goodbye for now.